Universe diverse, we chase the light. Cohort season 7 rise. On the blockchain we are wise. Innovation in our eyes.
Makes sense to go through things, talk through them, and get an idea of what my experience is and how you guys can follow suit. So actually the claimable thing is important. There you go. D-work. GitHub. Okay, so first thing first, if you don't have an account on Bankless, just connect your wallet and yeah, it'll tell you if you have airdrops and you could just like claim them through the UI. Most of them, like they're legit, so you're not gonna get scammed because it's pre-filtered by Bankless. You should also always check your MetaMask. So if you use MetaMask, you should go into tokens and then eligible airdrops. So you could always like, whenever there's an airdrop, you could just go claim it. I honestly have been making like a few $100s a month, just getting like small airdrops here and there from different sources. And these two have been very valuable for me. Today I got like $50. Like a few weeks ago, I got like 600, 700, 800 from Moxie. That was through MetaMask. Another thing is like Twitter. So Twitter, it's cesspool and it can waste a lot of your time, but it also has a lot of good information. So one of that is like just connecting to people within your community. So if you're interested in Web3 and you are interested in the RPC stuff, just go on the Pocket Network, follow them, and then just follow all the accounts that they're retweeting and build up your network so that people first recognize your name. So like when you follow someone, whether or not they like to admit it, especially if you have this blue check mark, that's another thing, is that blue check mark actually includes you in the notification system in Twitter. If you don't pay for Twitter or you don't have the blue check mark and you follow someone, they don't get a notification that you followed them. Another thing about the blue check mark is you don't always have to keep paying for Twitter. If you pay for it once, it usually sticks around for a few months. Even if you stop paying, like that blue check mark sticks around and it keeps including you in people's notifications. So you want to build this persona publicly that people are going to see and recognize that that's your brand as a developer in the space. You need to build that brand. People need to recognize you because there's hundreds of people a day that are applying to jobs, applying to bounties, applying to grants. And the truth is that people choose those that they know. Like they're not going to choose a random person that they've never seen. They're going to choose somebody that is in their community. If there's no one in their community, somebody that's in a sub community or a sibling community out there. Build your brand, expand that network, and utilize that to the best of your ability. LinkedIn, same thing here. LinkedIn, like I hate it. It's the worst social platform. Anything Microsoft does sucks, but LinkedIn is just another thing that you throw your experience on. Even if you do something for like a week, throw it on there. The point is you just want to build this, history that people can go and look into. Half of these companies are dead, don't exist anymore. The other half of them, are still around and people can go visit and check them out and see that, there is something to your name. When you're starting out with nothing, the most important thing you could do is go into a local meetup. So if you're starting from zero, you don't have a GitHub, you don't have a Twitter, you don't have LinkedIn, you don't know where you're trying to go. You just have some technical skill that you want to use. And let me try to find this. And you want to turn that into a career or an opportunity. So DeFi Philly, I think this is it. Let's see if I still have it. Where is, okay, Warsaw International. So this is my meetup, but local meetups are extremely important. We're trying to work online. We want to work remotely, but local meetups are the best because people, again, they choose to hire those that they know, that they can recognize, because that's how we are as people. And if you are there and people see you and they see that you're trying, they're more likely to invest in you. They're more likely to point you in the right direction. And they're more likely to like take a risk when you, because when you're a new developer or you don't have much experience that people can like lean on, hiring you is actually going to cost them more than it's going to give them. Like you're probably like, just speaking of myself, a few 5 years ago, I was useless. Like I could code, but I was still useless. I was actually more work than it's worth. And the way that I got past that hurdle of how do I get my first job? How do I start like contributing to open source into the space is by taking, finding a local meetup, going to it every week and talking about what I can do. There was a guy, his name was Mike. He had a exchange. Let me see if I could still reach it. I think I can because it's on ETH So yeah, this is the exchange that this guy had. It doesn't work anymore. Like it's been dead for a few years, but he needed work on it. And like back then, it just looked horrible, and it didn't work well. So I said, hey, I know React. I've been learning React for a few years. He brought me on. He gave me like bounties. So bounties are, think of them as like micro jobs or gigs. You want to change this, not a number. This is a JavaScript bug. You go onto something like Dwork, which is a bounty platform. I don't know if it still works anymore, but go on Dwork and you say, hey, I want you to fix this bug. It says not a number on this page. I don't know why that's happening. I'll pay you $100, $200, $300 for fixing this bug. So I started doing these bounties for this type of project. So I got those bounties, and Ricochet used something called Superfluid, and they both use something called Teller.io. So this is a Oracle. If you know, an Oracle is just like a price feed for different tokens. So Ricochet, which is a very small project, didn't have much usage. I was actually a client of Raid Guild a few years ago, and that's how I got into Raid Guild. Like it took some time, but point is, Ricochet was using these two. So these are sister or like sibling communities. You can think of them as sibling communities. I started with my bounties on Ricochet, and then Superfluid had a bounty system. So I jumped into Superfluid and I started taking on these gigs, right? Like they paid me $500 to do something super simple. So if you go up here and you see the stream granularity here, I did that. I did this like ether decimal places. Let me see if I could find my profile. So I did these bounties that I would find either on Dwork or in their Discord server or whatever. And this is also something that I did. I don't stream anymore, so there's nothing there. But this I got paid $500 for. Adding these things, I got paid like $200 a piece for. You could see that on my Dwork history. Like this is all the shit I did. These are all the bounties that I've done in Web3. Like you can see, I started off with this is a $200 bounty to write a contributing file. So if you go on GitHub and you have a project, contributing is just like the guide on how you're supposed to do things. Let's see if I could find. It's been a while. So this is a README. You could also consider that like a code of conduct. It's all the same thing. It's just like a markdown file with text on it saying how you can contribute, what the rules are, whether or not you could do a certain thing, where all the files are that you're trying to contribute to. Let me see if the Alua app is still on to give you some context as to. And if you guys have a question, you could just stop me at any time. I ramble a bit. I guess not. Anyway, point is, I wrote a contributing file. I got paid $200 for that. It took me a few hours, maybe like 4 hours with the reviews and all that. Next, I added something called Biconomy. This is account abstraction thing. So they gave me $1,000. So the first job, it was just like $200. And then the second job was $1,000 because I started building rapport with these people. They started trusting that I can do what I say I'm going to do. And you can see this is littered with like tiny jobs that I did for 25 bucks or for 60 bucks. I took any opportunity that came my way. There's a lot of opportunities in the space. There are a lot of bug bounty programs. There's a lot that you can do. So the opportunities are plentiful. You just need to know where to look. You need to accept like low paying jobs because those build your portfolio. They build your rapport with different companies. I got into a metagame, which is like a community within Raid Guild or vice versa. And it just started growing from there. Like I got more and more jobs, more and more jobs, more and more jobs. And then the amounts that I started taking like grew. So now it's like 3,000, 2,500, whatever. And I made it to the top of this platform. Let me see if I can get to it. I don't know if somebody overtook me yet or if I'm still at the top. I'm still at the top. So I made it to the top of this platform, and then people started messaging me because they go on DWork, they try to hire someone, they see my profile there. I think I see some messages going in. Long time Fearless. Hey, Fearless, how's it going? So anyway, that's one thing. Bounties, small jobs, building out your profile of who you are so that people know you, going to real life events. The next thing is, let me see if I could still reach this on YouTube. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. So the next thing is to go to real life events, like the community events like ETH Denver or whatever it is. Just go to them and then take any opportunity that you get, whether that be opening the door for people, cleaning up trash, teaching. It doesn't matter. It's just as soon as people start to see you as somebody that's useful, the opportunities are going to start flooding in. And you're going to build a list of people that depend on you, that like you, that want to work with you. And over time, that list gets larger and larger until your business, let's say, or your career in Web3 is self-sustainable. So at this point, I think I have like maybe 5 or 6 clients that I continuously work with. I have grants that I apply to all the time. We could go to what that looks like. So if I go to my HackMD, so this is another type of opportunity. We can jump to grants. Okay, so let's just go to this opportunity, which is grants. So the Ethereum Foundation had a grant recently for a research proposal. So they'll pay you a certain amount per month for 6 months to do research on something. So I spent like a few weeks writing this proposal up, sending it to people that I know, building out like what I would like to do, how I would like to accomplish it. I had multiple versions of the same proposal before I sent it out. And then, yeah, eventually I was pretty confident in what I wrote and I went and I submitted that. So if you go on Ethereum.Foundation, this is an example. Like every single Web3 or blockchain company has a grant program and a bounty program. So those are opportunities. Those are places that you could find some work. I don't know why this site is taking so long to load. That does not seem natural. Let me know if you guys can hear me still. Maybe it's my internet. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you hear me? Okay, all good. It's not my fault. Someone must be DDoSing the Ethereum Foundation site because that's very, very slow. But anyway, grants, let's see, what we could find. So Gitcoin. You could build a small project and you can apply to Gitcoin grants. A lot of money is flowing through this every year. If you go to Arbitrum, see Arbitrum. So Bridge, blog resources, bug bounties. You could go to Arbitrum, the bug bounties. So Immunify is more towards like security bug bounties, but you could also make like you can make your own bounties. You could go to Arbitrum and you can say, hey, your site looks all shitty over here. Can I please fix it for you? And here's how much I'm going to pay you. The Pocket.network blog, so docs, or was it forum? So this is one of the jobs that I actually did with Raid Guild is we applied to a opportunity in the Pocket network ecosystem. So they had like a micro grant program where you could say that you want to do something. So I said, I want to maintain your documentation and your site. And I wrote down what I would do, what that includes, what my qualifications are, what my alignment is, and I would apply to that and I would get a certain amount per month. So if I can go to impact. So through that, I did work for Pocket Network for about 6 months or so, and then they included me in the Retro PGF program, and then they gave me like a few $1,000s for doing literally nothing. As you work more and more in the open source space, you're going to see more opportunities come your way, and really you got to be a self-starter. You have to basically build your own opportunities because there's a lot of competition right now. In this group call, there's maybe like 15 people. So if you aren't willing to work at like 9 p.m., someone else in here is, and they're going to take your job. So you need to be able to do that work at those like crazy hours until you actually build a consistent client base. You need to be able to take risks. You need to be able to just jump on a call with somebody, even if you don't like jumping on calls. A lot of people don't like being on a call, but honestly, that's the fastest way to get what you want. So another thing is, this is the DIF, so Digital Identity Foundation. Identity. This is another story. I'm sorry, I'm not very organized with this. I wish I did like an actual presentation, but I hope it's useful. So I was doing this like research grant, a separate thing. So I found a grant on the Ethereum Foundation site for like a research grant. I decided I want to apply to it under digital identity. So while I was writing for that grant, researching the stuff, I figured out that there is already somebody doing what I want to do called the Digital Identity Foundation. So I applied to get on a call with them and I just clicked to become a member. And then I just went through the form, filled it up. I don't know anything about them, but I took that opportunity, like I took that risk and I put the time in to like write this down, and I would have paid in order to get on the call with these people. So they scheduled a call with me after I made that. After I did that, they scheduled the call with me. I had the call with them. I said what I wanted to do, how I want to do it. I showed them the proposal. They added in a section to my proposal, like a quote saying that they would like to work with me and help me with X, Y, and Z. And then they gave me a role in their organization. And then because their organization is actually a child organization of the Linux Foundation, the Linux Foundation added me into their organization. So I'm not necessarily planning these things. The point I'm trying to get across is that a lot of the times you're only 3 steps away from somebody who's willing to pay you a lot of money or give you status or give you an education or whatever, do something for you. You're like 3 steps away from Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or whatever. You know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows Bill Gates. Like it's statistically impossible for that not to be the case. So you need to take that risk and start like knowing more people, connecting to more people, texting people, getting on calls, because those are the real resources. It's not the money, it's not the jobs, it's not LinkedIn, it's not Upwork, it's not Dwork, it's the people. And if you can connect to these guys, you can talk to them, you can impress them, you can show them that you have drive. They will take a risk on you and they will give you opportunities. And then they're going to connect you to other people that they know. And you're going to start climbing this ladder very quickly and build out like a very strong base of clients. We'll go back to that. Let me see if I could just get this open. Somebody here in Raid Guild actually, finally, somebody here in Raid Guild actually introduced me to somebody else in Raid Guild, and they were in the Ethereum Foundation. So I asked them like, hey, would you guys have anything over there? They gave me a grant. I started doing the grant with these guys. So now like the status growth, right? Like every single job that you put on your LinkedIn, on your Twitter, whatever, it's going to reflect on you and give you some kind of like allure. And if you have bigger names on there, you're going to be more alluring to people and you're going to get more opportunities. So the hardest time when you're trying to build like a career in this space and be like a remote worker and get paid like a very decent amount of money, it's like the first year and a half. It's going to be shit. You're going to make really bad money. You're going to have to do something. Like I had to do Uber Eats to the side of this. I had to like go on Uber. Like I was using a bike. I was delivering in Philadelphia and I was also coding. I was getting like shit money because my code was bad and people had to spend money in order to fix the things that I was doing. And I did that for like a year and a half or 2 years. And before that, I was doing sales and coding at the same time. So it takes a lot of time. Like the first year and a half or 2 years of trying to get into this career is going to really suck. It's going to be really difficult. You're going to have to go get money elsewhere. But as soon as you start building up that base and you know how to deal with clients, you're going to get more clients and more clients. And eventually you're not going to be able to handle it all. And then someone is going to get this cool idea of like, hey, let's start a Discord server and add people to it and take jobs together. And we're going to build this whole like story around this jobs. And then you get Raid Guild.
Merci.
I'm done ranting. Let me know if you
Il est
guys have any
35.
questions.
Mais non, mais c'est... Voilà.
So in terms of bounty caster or D work, like all of them, honestly, they suck. Like the money in them is not great. You're getting paid like a very small amount of money to do like a lot of things. There's no protection for you as like the service provider. There's no protection built into bounty caster or D work. Usually you do the job and then you hope that the other person is just going to send you the money at the end of it. But again, to go back to like the initial point, it's not about the money when you're doing bounties. The money is not worth it. Like the time spent to get that bounty out is not the point. It's like you're sacrificing your time in order to get a client. And then once you get that client, that's the big thing that you're trying to get. So if you see an opportunity on Bounty Caster, apply to it. If you see that D-Work has an open bounty, apply to it. So don't think about which platform is right for you. All of them are right and all of them suck. So just apply to all of these opportunities. And as soon as you get one, that's the point where like the real magic is not that you got like a good, bounty from somewhere. It's that you got a connection. Another thing that I wanted to mention is so stuff like Upwork, let's say, it's not necessarily a Web3 thing, but it also gives you the same opportunities that you start building out your portfolio. So Fiverr, Upwork, D-Work, Bountycaster, all of these things help you accomplish the same thing, which is build out a client list that you could start using to like get referrals. Because in this business, I think most of the people at Raid Guild know that in this business, like your number one conversion thing is going to be referrals. If I know that George is a great engineer and I know somebody needs an engineer, I'm just going to say, hey, this is a good guy for you. So you want to be that person that people think of when they say, oh, we need somebody that does like React or somebody that does Web3 development or like Solidity. You want to be that person for someone. So if you could find opportunities, even if you work for free, I would say it's worth it. Hackathons are great. So hackathons are really good because you're essentially, again, you're doing something for free. It takes a lot of time. It's very stressful, but you build up connections and you have the opportunity to interact with mentors. And usually these people that are considered mentors in hackathons share about meme coin adventures. I'll get to that. Usually people that are considered mentors at hackathons have a lot of connections, right? Like they have a lot of connections and pulls. So if you are able to impress these people and to show them that you can think through a problem and make an impression on them, you have somebody that you could later then use to get an opportunity. I want to do one last recap. Yeah, networking above all. I'm a very mid engineer. I'm a very mid programmer. I think that like in this call, there's probably like 5 people that are better programmers than me. What I'm really good at is yapping and just going to people. And I think that's because I used to work in sales. So that sales skill is extremely helpful for me to get to the position that I'm in. So I want you guys to understand that programming itself is really not the focus in this like line of work. You could be a good programmer, you could be okay and use ChatGPT or whatever. It's really the sales. So focus your energy on that and then build up your client list. And then once you get to be a good salesperson and you have people that you want to pay you for whatever it is that you want to do, at that point you can shift back and start focusing on gaining engineering skills. And I think at this point we don't even really need to be like good engineers because we have AI bots doing it all for us. You just need to be good at like understanding what a client wants, putting that down on paper, making sure that you tell the client, so all of this goes back to like networking, communication skills. People that are, let's say, French or Indian or Pakistani, all of you guys also have a great, advantage in that you know two languages and you're able to work within two markets. So the people that are French go to ETH Paris, or I don't remember where they did it this year, but I know that they also speak French. So go to that event, talk to people. That's going to be a great, opener for you. Yeah, usually dev doesn't get you anything. Like the best developers that I've ever seen work for Google doing like the same thing over and over again. It's like a Sisyphean task, honestly. Like the best engineer that I know, he's like a math whiz. He works on like a Google Cloud thing that I don't even know how to describe it. But all he does every single day is he goes and he sits, he logs into this account that only gives him access to a very small portion of the code, and he just like fixes that all day. All of you guys are not like great engineers. You're great people trying to work in a space that requires you to network and connect and be personable. So focus on that. Obviously, grow your engineering skills. It's good to have that as well. In terms of other things, is like somebody mentioned here, it was Sayonara mentioned about like meme coins. So obviously, like meme coins are very exploitative. A lot of them are scammers. A lot of them are like rug pulling. I've launched a meme coin. I've actually like launched a meme coin. It got to like a few 100,000. I refunded everybody, and I lost money during this process. But that opened an opportunity for me. So it's like I capitalized on a trend. I paid some money into that, and I got a trend. George is a great engineer. George is a great engineer. I really like working with you. But yeah, meme coins again. To go back to meme coins. So this cycle, quote unquote cycle, it was meme coins, it was DPIN. Yeah, those were it's AI meme coins and DPIN. Those are like the three main narratives that we have, and essentially that's where you're going to find most of the work. So right now I have multiple clients working with me to do AI stuff, right? And I'm not an AI engineer. I don't know much Python, but I know how to read docs. I know how to quickly learn things. I know how to sell myself as somebody who can be quickly taught to do something. So you need to shift your whatever you're selling. If you think of yourself as a store and your inventory as the things that you're selling, that needs to be up to date with the current trends in the market. So you need to be able to put something with AI on your resume, put something with meme coins on your resume, put something with DPIN. Obviously, we're exiting that cycle now. We're going into something new. Yeah, and then to talk about cycles, if you're going to keep working in Web3, you have every 4 years you have this like cycle, right? So there's going to be 1 year that you get a lot of money flowing in, and then you have 3 years where there's less money, but there's more people building. So you're going to get more opportunities, but the money that you get paid for these opportunities is going to be less. And then during these bull markets, you're going to get less opportunities, but the amount of money you get for those opportunities is going to be higher. So you need to position yourself to work with those trends. Like for me, I've been around for like, let's say 2 cycles, right? Half of one cycle, a full cycle. The most amount of clients I had was actually in the bear market. I had so many clients that I needed to start a Discord server and just add in a bunch of people into there. And I essentially did like a mini raid guild before I joined Raid Guild. I didn't want to do that anymore, but that's the only way I could keep up with the volume. And the problem is I was getting paid small amounts of money, so I needed to do volume. But now I have like less opportunities in that everybody already has developed their product, right? They develop it for the bull market, and then they like fire people, and then they focus on investing for marketing and all that shit. So now I have less clients, but the clients that I have are paying me more, and they're also like different types of jobs. They're less building and more so communication, technical writing, updating documentation, Framer, Webflow, WordPress. So they're less building and more like public facing opportunities. So that's another thing to keep in mind if you're going to be entering the space. And then Raid Guild here is like, and I'm going to show Raid Guild for a bit because it is an incredible opportunity. It's propelled me, like it's increased the acceleration of my skills so quickly compared to other things that I've done. Because I told you, I actually started a Discord server and I had like maybe 15 people working with me, and we were taking on jobs and we were doing what would be considered here in Raid Guild raids. I got really tired around November, December. And the reason for that is that I had people depending on me. And my wife was pregnant, and people were depending on me to bring in work because I was like the sales piece in there. So if I didn't go and get more work, people wouldn't have enough money to survive, or like not survive, but like they wouldn't have enough money to do what they need to do. And that was too stressful for me. So I shut it down and I jumped into Raid Guild and I started doing things here. And this has been an incredible opportunity. Raid Guild has reached a certain velocity. It's built a reputation for itself and a brand, and like it has so many connections that it is self-sustaining for a long time. We don't actually need to go and do sales. Opportunities do come in. Obviously, it's better if we actually go and do sales and we grow this and we make this bigger than what it currently is. But it is self-sustaining, and the people here typically have opportunities. So everybody that is a member of Raid Guild in here for a long time always has something to do, regardless of the time of year. And if you want it, you can get it. There's a ladder in here that you can climb. That's important. There is an opportunity. You just need to. So if you are going to join Raid Guild and you're going to actually become a member, get out of this. So first focus on your cohort, do the cohort, finish that, and you need to get on a raid, or you need to start a RIP. So a RIP is like a proposal. Think of it as a grant, just like I told you. You are able to ask Raid Guild for a certain amount of money to do a certain thing, and if Raid Guild agrees to that, you're going to get the payment and you're going to be able to do the thing. So that's a proposal. And I think it's a job that you created the job and you applied for it, and Raid Guild can give you the money to do that. So pick one of those two. If you see that there's a lot of raids coming in right now, do that. If there aren't many raids coming in right now, do a RIP and do the job and talk to people in the community and present it properly and ask to be a member. Find somebody that's going to sponsor you. So we have something called championing. So if I'm a member of Raid Guild, I can champion someone else, that one of you guys here that's in this cohort, and I can bring you on and help you get your first like opportunity and get you whatever you need so that you can eventually become a member. It takes time. It's annoying. Like it's great to just start something and immediately have the opportunities. That's not how it works. You need to be. There is a channel. I don't think you guys have access to it. It's called Who is Available. It's for members. So I had a notification on that thing. So on Discord on your mobile phone, you can select the channel and you can turn a notification on specifically for that channel. And the minute one of the people in here, I think it's Sasquatch. That was my first raid. The minute that someone said, "Hey, we need help," on this Pocket Network thing, immediately I jumped in. It was a Saturday morning. I was supposed to hang out with my family, but I jumped in. I said, I'll do it. We needed to have a scope of work ready for Monday because that's when we were going to do the application for that grant. We were competing against multiple people. So I wrote that down. I worked on it on Sunday. I submitted on Monday. We got the opportunity. We got the job. We got the payment. We started doing the work. That spiraled into 2 or 3 more jobs from the same client. That spiraled into like 4 or 5 more jobs from different clients that I was referred to via the Pocket Network, Foundation. So this is a prototype of like what you need to do is make the opportunities yourself. Don't wait for somebody to spoon feed you because everyone is busy.
Sarah,
Yep.
yeah, no, I just want to echo and amplify exactly what you're saying. There's so many things in your talk that actually really resonated with me and my journey as a developer. I mean, you talk about doing local meetups and going to these conferences and events. I mean, yeah, those are super important things. And one of the things I've noticed throughout my journey was initially, it's just I just want a program. Just put me in a dark room, and this is still how I am, and let me just read documentation, do tutorials, and try to build new shit. That's where I'm probably the most comfortable. I'm least comfortable, like right now, talking to people, getting up on stage and doing a presentation, walking around and meeting people and shilling myself. But at some point, you have to start doing those things. And you get better as you do it more. The first few times, it's the worst experience possible, like sitting in front of a room of 100 people and trying to talk. But every time you do it, you get a little better. And like you're saying, there's the other thing. Okay, the other thing that really resonated with me was kind of this power of free and cheap work. There's so many devs I talk to that are coming like right out of school, and they're like, I won't do anything for less than $150 an hour, and it's like, all right, well then you need to go work for some big corporate company, and you work for them. If you want to work for yourself, the school is obviously important, but you also got to start working on all these other facets of your personal identity, practicing talking in front of people, working with clients, doing project management, building communities, and so yeah, those things I think are really important to take from your talk. And then what you were just saying, right? There's no such thing as a free lunch. You got to work for it, and building the stuff up can happen fast if you put a little time and commitment into it.
Thanks for sharing, Deacon. Yeah, the great analogy is like when you work at Google, you are basically doing the exact same thing every day. You are a robot, and that's just how corporations work, especially at a certain size where they can pay you $150 an hour. Because your job is to like, your job is to spread the butter, and you're gonna spread the butter. You're not gonna like do anything else. You're not gonna go get the bread. You're just gonna spread the butter. And so this is, and it's soul draining. It's soul crushing. And I think a lot of people don't want to do that with their lives. And even though it sounds like a great job, go work for Google, get like this stable job, get a lot of money, get like free shit, but you're essentially reduced down to like a single purpose item. You're an object, and when you work for yourself, you are a Google. So you have a sales department, a marketing department, like an accountant department. Like you are doing all of these things, and it's a lot of work. And like I have to do my accounting myself. I have to do my taxes on multiple countries, and usually when you go work for someone, they do all that for you. They give you everything that you need for you, except they reduce you down to what is considered to be a tool. And for me, that didn't work. I don't think I could survive in that kind of environment. Not that it's a bad thing. A lot of people would thrive in that environment. I just wouldn't. One thing I read in the comments here is the real life events. You have to go to real life events. So there are 3 or 4 a year that I would say are more important than all the other ones, and specifically in this space. So go to ETH Denver. That's the #1 most important event of the year. America itself, if you could go to America, or if you already live in America, if you can get connected, it's the best place in the world for business, bar none. There's nowhere else in the world where you can make so much money. You can connect with people. Americans are like super open. Like they're very open people, and they like the underdog story. They want to give you money. They want to give you opportunities. It's just how we are as a nation. And when you are in Europe, it's a very different environment. People are not like that. People like life in Europe is much slower. Things are much more difficult. It's a lot who knows who. In America, we want, the random person who has nothing. We want to give them the money and the time and the opportunities so that they can become someone. That's our nation's like, prototypical story. So go to ETH Denver on ETHCC. So this is in France or Belgium, I think. They did it in Belgium this year. That's the second one. ETH Belgium is a lot more, ETHCC is a lot more like corporate and like institutional, but it's still nice. Go to DEF CON. So all the developers, like if you're really into the development side of things, go to DEF CON. That's great. And then go to either whatever local ETH you have. If there is no local ETH, make a local ETH. The ETH Foundation will give you money to do that. Miko? Okay, you muted yourself. Yeah, ETH Denver, ETHCC, DEF CON, local ETH conference. If you don't have a local ETH conference, just make one. Yeah, you will get money for that. Yeah, you will get money for that. You will get so much for that. People want to go socialize. You'd think that like if you live in like the middle of nowhere. I used to live in a place called Durham in the UK, and when I would look outside, it's just like a sheep everywhere, like actual like animal sheep, and there's nobody there. And I thought like I wouldn't find anybody that agrees with me or that like has anything in common with me until I went to a local meetup, and yeah, yeah, exactly. You will be the only person in the room for a few weeks if you start a meetup, but eventually people are going to see that you're consistent and they're going to come over. When I moved, I live in Poland currently. My wife is Polish. My child now is Polish. So I moved here from the United States. And when I first got here, I didn't speak any Polish, not a single word. So I didn't have any friends and I felt very lonely. So I went on the Meetup app. It's called meetup.com. That's the application, that's the website. I paid $20. I started a meetup. So for the first, I think, 2 or 3 months, I would be lucky if 4 people showed up. And then I think the fifth or sixth event, there were so many people. I think it was like 35 people. I couldn't fit them in a bar. I couldn't fit them in a Starbucks. We had to split into multiple groups and sit outside during the summer. Thankfully, it was summer. So, and now I don't even go to this meetup anymore. It's my meetup. I started it, but now people from the meetup run the meetup. I don't have time to go for it every week, and it's just there, and it has 2,500 members or something like that. The that's been a huge opportunity builder for me, and I got to meet the people from ETH Warsaw. So yeah, starting like a local meetup is great. I don't know. I just if you guys feel me with questions or any stories, maybe somebody here from Raid Guild could share their story or how they approach the sales, so that it's just not focused only on me. Yeah, I started on Meetup.com. It's called ETH Warsaw. No, sorry, mine is called Warsaw International. Let me share my screen again. There you go. This is my meetup. Yeah, 2,100 members. And I got to know a lot of people with this. I got to connect to ETH Warsaw and like a bunch of other places as well. All right, let me see if I have any questions for people. Maybe EC, George, if you guys have the ability to speak, maybe you can tell us a bit about some sales opportunities. Like, how do you guys approach sales that you're members in Raid Guild? If you want to share, you don't have to. Maybe Sasquatch?
I mean, I don't have any experience with like sales stuff or biz dev stuff, but just as a developer, like anything that has like come through the door has basically been, uh, or all the big stuff has basically been to Sarah's point, through connections from previous jobs I've done. Like I think I started uh doing freelance dev stuff like 8 years ago, and it was because my uh boss at the time wanted to redesign a site for a different company he had, and he knew I was able to do that as like a hobby kind of thing, and he just hired me uh, to do that. And then so my first batch of clients were just him referring different Web2 clients to me, and then like as I started doing Web3 stuff, it was like hackathons at first, very tiny jobs, and then joining Raid Guild, uh, and then uh, even doing jobs like building off of Raid Guild in the same way that I think Sarah's worked with Pocket, potentially outside of Raid Guild for bigger projects. Like people come in and out of Raid Guild to do kind of Raid Guild adjacent projects that could potentially be bigger or more consistent for them. But yeah, to the point of what Sarah's saying, like it's at least for me, it's all been basically just like doing something as good as you can do it, and then people referring you to another person or just asking you to do something else. I think I've been super lucky in that I borderline haven't done anything whatsoever as far as updating social sites or anything. It's just been people uh, reaching out. Like I think like doing like quality work, I think goes a long way for sure as a developer.
And the biggest pain that I always hear on everyone's end is getting the first opportunity, because like, most service business, I would say service business in general, you have like two ways or three, let's say three ways of driving business. One is referral based, two is joining a bigger group that is able to throw opportunities your way. So think of Raid Guild. And then three is marketing through like SEO and all this other stuff as a service provider, right? What I mean by service provider could be like a teacher or a programmer or a marketer, like whatever it is that you do that you could consider that providing a service to other people. So you have to rely on one of these three. Sorry, Deacon, go ahead.
Oh, but someone was talking about social. Or is that
Yeah,
not covered in
if you could give me like 3 more minutes. So I want to answer like three questions really quickly. Why freelance? Why raid guild? And why Web3? So in terms of freelancing, there's a lot of pain in it. Like again, doing your taxes, accounting, finding clients, dealing with having multiple clients at the same time, dealing with people, getting on calls all day. It's painful. There's a lot of pain in it. But also freelancing gives you some insane opportunities that might not look like a big deal in the start, but you eventually know are a big deal. Today I went to, I think it was like 2 p.m. I just shut my computer down and I took my wife and my kid to his daycare slash preschool to get him signed up. Um, a few months ago, I was able to just like take a trip to Japan for a whole month because I don't have to be at the office at a certain time of day. I could just go and work in Japan, different time zone. I traveled around Japan and it was awesome. It was amazing, incredible time. I would never have the opportunity to do that. Some days I just like wake up and all I want to do is work all day long. I'm not restricted to having to be in an office. I don't have a boss. I'm my own boss. Obviously, I have people that are above me. That always exists. Your clients are always above you. So you have to treat them like your boss when you're dealing with them. One of my biggest mistakes when I first started out was being rude to clients or like getting angry with them. But clients are your boss and you have to treat them with respect and you have to understand, there is a hierarchy. There are people above people when you're dealing in business, and that's okay. But there's no one sitting and like breathing down my neck telling me how I should do things or when I should do things. The people that I work with them because I want to, not because I'm forced to. Everyone in this group here, I've had like great memories with, and I really appreciate them and respect them. And if I was working for a company, I would be forced to sit next to somebody that I might not like them. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I'm forced to work with them and deal with them. Over here, I could choose my peers. I could choose the people I work with, the people that I'm around. So that's why freelancing. Why Raid Guild? Raid Guild is a group of freelancers. So all you're doing is you're just joining a group of people that have varying levels of experience. There are people that are better than you, that know the business better than you, that are better coders, and you can learn from them, and you can be a mentee for them. And there are people that are worse at business than you, worse at coding than you, and you can teach them. So you're put in a group of people and you can find yourself, you can make friendships. And honestly, every time I've met somebody from Raid Guild in the real world, I felt like these are my people. And I relate to them and I understand them and I really appreciated them. Raid Guild has been very generous with me and given me a lot of opportunities and protection and work. And I'm endlessly grateful for that. And it's really helped my career in many ways. Everybody that is a member here has helped me in some way or another. Last thing is why Web3? For me, that the answer for that is that I'm a global person. I'm an international person. I live in Warsaw. I'm from New York. My dad is from North Africa. I've lived in the UK. And dealing with banking systems and cards and visas is just such a pain. It's so painful every time I have to deal with the government. It's so much work and just like the slow system sending money to my brothers that lived in North Africa for a while. I would lose 25% by the time they would get the money. And then they would exchange it to their currency, which wasn't actually set up properly. Like the currency exchange at the government level and in the street level is different. So by the time they get the money, it's half of what it was worth. And that was horrible. And I agree with people. I think open source is great. I think we should be open. I think we should work on things that are going to free people instead of like enslave them and force them into positions that they don't want to be in. I think that we should all have the right to work on whatever we want, however we want, do transacting how we would like to. We don't need a government. We don't need any of this stuff. We're in an age where we have this global computer that can help us do anything we want, and that's Ethereum. I specifically love Ethereum. I love all of this technology, all of open source, but Ethereum specifically is an extremely aligned community. The people here are the best in crypto. They're like, crypto is complicated. There's a lot of scammers. There's a lot of very immoral people. It brings the most libertarian-minded people in the world, and some of them are great, some of them are not. But Ethereum itself has been like a great filtering mechanism for good people. So I highly recommend that you do everything you can to become a freelancer, to join Raid Guild, become a member, and to stay in this community and to help make it like what it could be with your localized knowledge, whether you're in India, whether you're in France or Poland, it doesn't matter. You have a lot of things that you could bring to the table that most of us have never heard of because we're in different parts of the world. So that was my presentation. Thank you again for listening. I really appreciate it. Anybody here that needs help or wants, some advice, you can always DM me. And yeah, thanks again for your time, guys.
I have a question. Why Warsaw?
Yo, check the mic, 1, 2. Squeak, squeak, it's Hammy G. Descending into the abyss where things get funky, see. This ain't no Disney flick, no cheesy cartoon chase. The Smollett's lair, a bureaucratic soul-crushing space like Dante's Inferno, with more paperwork and fees and demonic interrupts that make you